But the technological expertise that I gained there and exposure that I gained there made me get a lot of respect for this little box right here. And they're incredible tools, and I got a few surprises for you. Personal perception of, see, this is going to expose a lot of this lady, Jennifer's thinking here. Personal perception of public health leadership and leadership development. I think that the problem with public health leadership and leadership development is that it's not exposed to the private sector enough. Just as the private sector is not exposed to the public sector enough. And then what happens is they think that they're thinking about different things, and they're not. Companies like United Healthcare and Aetna would be very, very interested also to know whether or not they have hemoglobin A1Cs that are normal or abnormal. Because they would want to increase margin and manage medical costs, and hopefully with increasing that margin be able to be in a position to improve their technology and or reduce premium. We all know too that from an altruistic point of view, it also keeps toes on people's feet, keeps them from being blind, and it also reduces the cost to the public and the taxpayer. See, so what happens is that the two sides really don't understand each other, nor can they really take clear advantage of each other's capabilities. So, for instance, something that would seemingly be the results of good public health research would be something that would be confidential and proprietary information in terms of methodology for any one of those particular companies. And then you go to the methodology and you go, well, rocket science that is not, and do you have any proof? I mean, is there a control group? Because we would be talking about things like, well, there was a 12% decrease. Over what? Over whom? And of course, I'm the bad child in the group because I'm asking all of these public health questions. The public health and the private leadership have really got to come together, and I think disasters kind of make that kind of thing happen. How many people were here before? How many people actually stayed through the storm? Khadijah did, but she's okay. I actually came home from Washington on a beautiful day like today, and I got off of a plane where there were hundreds of people ready to run me down to get on that plane. I went home, put my dogs in the cage, and somehow knew I'd never see them again. And then I went to the Superdome, and I should have put the cages in the back of the car and taken them to the Superdome because my car was in great shape. But I went to the Superdome and to the back. Do you know the road between the arena and the Superdome? The loading dock was where the entrance was to be screened for the special needs shelter. It was a zoo. And Dr. Robinson was already there trying her best to get people out of the city. And given the situation, she felt confident and lucky enough to be able to get them to Charity or Tulane. And now we all know that that was something that was a decision that was difficult to look back on as a good one. We were also faced with shelters up north closing. So when we could evacuate people, we were being refused by upstate shelters because they were at capacity. I'm pausing because I'm really angry about those situations. In fact, I'm infuriated by those situations because that's ridiculous. When you're on the phone telling people, I've got oxygen tanks connected to people rolling in here like a waterfall, and you're going to tell me that I can't get them out of here? While everyone knows on NOAA, et cetera, that, you can find out about what's going on. Does everybody know how to get to NOAA now? I actually do read email, but not today. You can always get to the National Weather Service. If it lets you.
Is that tornado down in the bottom?
I know. Isn't that interesting? That's something I got from somewhere. I don't know where it came from. But in any event, I'm walking around the Superdome, and typically, you'd see Louisiana, and you'd see a high-pressure system somewhere up here that was going down here. And the hurricane would go one way or the other, and there was no high-pressure system. And I'm walking through the dome, and the hours and minutes are clicking away, and there's no high-pressure system, no low-pressure system. Now, you can see that there's lots of ways to figure out where to get information about the weather. More than enough. More than enough. And what I've learned about learning here is, I go back to the same thing, learn whatever you can learn whenever you learn it, is that when they talk about this swath of possibilities, there's some things that actually are helpful. Like, there's definitely a high pressure system coming down. It takes your probabilities and it really narrows them. But you've got to know enough about all the different sites and understand a little bit about meteorology to be able to either take a deep breath or to take a deep breath. So the internet is something that's actually a wonderful device. You all know that because you're young people. I'm still pretty old. This to me is like a real gift when I talk about where I'm located. But I'm going to talk about some of the traps that you fall into. Right now I am not connected to the internet in this building. I've got a wireless card. So when I got evacuated and ended up in Dallas in a hotel room, I looked up and I saw a commercial. And I saw it again. And then I bought a card. And then I could do email between Texarkana and Shreveport. And I said, this is the bomb. So then my computer really became not a local device anymore. See, because you go from desktop thinking, which has a geography, to laptop thinking, which has a geography, to what both of them have is a geography that's international. And you really don't get it. You sort of get it when you do research, but you really don't get it when you're trying to develop a plan, like I'm going to talk about the portable health record plan that I'm working on. When you talk about how do you actually get that out to people. And most of it's going to be with this wireless card. We're going to get a bunch of these cards. And so far I've solved a huge technological problem. You guys bored yet?
Not yet.
All right, well, he's already heard me rant and rave a couple times. So I could be boring. It's always new. Oh boy, he knows how to get an A. How many you want to talk about? The first thing I did when I got to Dallas was I walked into the shelter and I almost had a PTSD or whatever it was event because I'm walking into this room with all these lights and these cots. And I'm going, I can't stay here. So I managed to bring some credit cards with me, along with my 1 pair of jeans, 1 pair of shoes, 2 pair of socks, 3 tops, and no medicine. I had none of my medicine with me, so I'd been off my meds for a week too. And then I remembered an acting class that I took when I was a little girl, an improvisation class. And I thought for a second, what can you lose? Asked the guy, where's the cheapest rate closest to here? And they said the Adams Mark Hotel is going to give a Red Cross rate of $59 a room a night. And I said, okay. These are $300 a night rooms. We're talking about top-notch rooms. My name is Dr. Vangy Franklin, and I'm the medical director from the Special Needs Shelter from the Superdome, and I have just arrived from Dallas after having been evacuated. And if you don't give me some help with some rooms, immediately I'm going to call the press. Here's my phone number. Well, 2 hours after that, I said, that didn't work. And the manager was very nice because he said, well, I can't make that decision. I have to call some people, blah, blah, blah. And he says, and you can charge it to FEMA. So I called them back. And then I said, I've got 3 credit cards. I want $2,000. Find $2,000 out of the 3 credit cards. So I can put 2 buses of people in some configuration of rooms and some configuration of cots for 2 nights. And that's what we did. because I figured that I could not go to the hotel and leave all these people behind who had done all this work in basically carpets that were filled with urine and feces.